Hello everyone. I'm very excited today because we are starting our poetry unit for literacy. And I have this big book called Climb Inside a Poem. And it is an anthology, which means it's a lot of poems from different authors, all on each page, just like Till All the Stars Have Fallen. This one begins with one by an author called Georgia Hurd, who's an American poet. And I love the beginning of this poem, and you'll see why. Where do I find poetry? I open my eyes, and what do I see? Poetry spinning all around me. In small ants, trailing over the ground, bulldozing dry earth into cave and mound. In 100 grains of ocean sand, that I cradle in the palm of my hand, in a lullaby of April rain, tapping softly on my window pane. In trees dancing on a windy day, when sky is wrinkled and elephant gray. Poetry, poetry can be found in, out, and all around. But take a look inside your heart. That's where a poem truly likes to start. So poetry is something that we have been reading and we have been listening to, and I think that you probably got online and heard the one that I wrote about my cats. Poetry is spinning all around us. We just have to find it. And the poet says, take a look inside your heart. That's where a poem truly likes to start. So I would, if you were here, I would say, what do you already know about poetry? You've listened to nursery rhymes since you were little. You've listened to poems. You've listened to songs. What do you know about poetry? So I'm going to use this chart with ideas that I'm pretty sure you know, and you would say if you were here, but you are not here. So I'm just going to just make the best of it. I'm using this homemade easel that my husband made me, and it's a little bit tricky. There we go. Okay, here we go. Poetry can, and here's the word underneath, poetry can rhyme. But does poetry have to rhyme? No, it doesn't. It can, but it does not have to rhyme. Poetry has rhythm. And by that I mean the rhythm of the words. Poetry can be found in, out, and all around, right? We often play our instruments when we do poems. That's why. Poetry uses good words. Poetry looks for words that have a lot of meaning. Like in the poem we just read, instead of saying, the ants push the dirt, the author said, the ants are bulldozing dry earth into cave and mound. Bulldozing to mean pushing the earth forward, but it's just a better word. Gives you a picture in your brain. Poetry expresses your heart. Poetry that we write is going to express your heart, and I would like it to be poetry that means something to you. Could be something that makes you really angry. Could be something that makes you very happy. Could be something that makes you feel very sad, but it needs to be expressing your heart. And poetry has a punch ending. A punch ending meaning the last line of the poem is often the most important. Or it might ask you a question. It's something to make you think. So for example, in the one that we just read, take a look inside your heart. That's where a poem truly likes to start. That's the whole point of what the author is saying. That's where a poem truly likes to start. So it was in the last line. Poetry has a punch ending. All right, I think you can see those. Could you read those with me? Poetry. Poetry can rhyme. Poetry has rhythm. I think I need a period at the end there, don't I? Poetry uses good words. Poetry expresses the heart. Poetry has a punch ending. And you know what? That period reminded me. I'm going to write here, poetry uses dot, 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 dash, exclamation, question mark. Poetry uses punctuation. Poetry uses spaces as well as punctuation, maybe a comma, to make sure that it is read correctly. So you can use a lot of those. We all know that this ellipsis dot, dot, dot means wait to see what's happening next. So does the long dash. It means something good is going to happen next. So in your booklet that you have, you're going to get a booklet like this from home called Poetry All Around. For today, if you could just take a blank piece of paper, I would like you to take your blank piece of paper and in the middle of it, make a heart. So I can't show you just part of this, but what I'd like you to do is make a little heart. Doesn't have to be perfect. Put your own little face inside that heart. So I'll show you the process. If you make your heart and your face, we'll just make a Todd Parr kind of a face, and divide it by putting 2 lines and 1 more. Divide it into 3 sections. One section is going to be things you love. One thing is going to be things you wonder. And I'm showing that with just a little cloud, like a thought bubble. And the last one is going to be things that make you feel sad or angry, because that's also in your heart. Things that you wonder, things that you love, things that make you feel sad or angry. And what I want you to do is make 2 or 3 little pictures in each section. So I'll show you this one that I've completed. I love my husband and my cat. Those are things I could write poetry about. I wonder about what makes a good friend. I wonder how a little seed like an acorn can grow into a giant oak tree. Or a little grain of corn could grow into a huge tall cornstalk taller than my head. I wonder about those things. I feel sad when someone dies. I feel sad when I am alone and I'd like to be with other people. Like right now, when I would like to be with you. Those are things I could write poetry about. When you have written a picture like that, when you've made your picture and have 2 or 3 other things, you're probably ready to write a poem. So I'm going to flip this over, and I would like you to think about one of those things and see if you can write a poem. So I'm going to call my poem Alone. I'm going to start with 1 word because I think it's nice to start with your topic. Alone. We are all alone right now, and it's a little bit sad, isn't it? And so I'm going to write a poem that's from my sad section about being alone. Alone. Nothing to do. No one to talk to. No sounds of fun. Today, I'm alone. I feel sad. here's my last punchline. Any ideas? Because if this person's feeling sad, what they need is some encouragement and some ideas. Okay, let's look at my poem and see if it has some of the elements of a good poem. Let's see, does it have, let's look for, we're not going to worry about rhyme. Rhyming is really hard. We're just going to make poems without rhyme. Does it have a rhythm? Alone, nothing to do, no one to talk to, no sounds of fun. Today I'm alone, I feel sad. Any ideas? Not much of a rhythm to it. I could probably improve that. Poetry uses good words. Alone, nothing to do, no one to talk to. No one to talk to. It's not really all that great. Maybe I could say no. Oh, when you're talking to someone, it's a conversation. No conversation. That's a better word. Instead of no one to talk to, no conversation. Nothing to do, no conversation. No sounds of fun. Sounds of fun. I think I could improve that. No sounds of laughter, maybe? Laughter is fun, right? No sounds of laughter. Because laughter is what, when friends get together, you laugh, right? Let's try it again. Alone, nothing to do, no conversation, no sounds of laughter. Today I'm alone. I feel sad. Any ideas? Well, I like this at the end, I feel sad, but it's kind of obvious. Instead of saying I feel sad, I could say what I do when I feel sad. So instead of I feel sad being so obvious, I'm going to say something like sitting. Today I'm alone, sitting on my couch. So I'm bored, right? I'm just sitting on the couch doing nothing. Instead of I feel sad, today I'm alone, sitting on my couch. Any ideas? I kind of like that ending because it's kind of the opposite. Here I'm alone and sad, and here I'm like, oh, maybe I could improve this. When you write a poem, it'll need some changing, and that's okay. We want it to be like that. So I've got my punch ending. Hey, I've got some indicators here of how to read it. Alone, I want people to not start reading yet, so I'm going to put that long line there. So it's like the word is all by itself. Alone. Nothing to do. I want that in a bored voice, so I'm going to put a period. No conversation, period. No sounds of laughter. I want that to be read in a sad way, so I'm not going to put an exclamation. I'm just going to put a period. Today I'm alone, ... sitting on my couch. Any ideas? There's my poem. I would like you to see if you can take one of these things that you've written, something you love, something that makes you feel sad, something that you wonder. See if you can make a poem out of it. A poem using not too many words and getting across the feeling of your heart. Let me read to you a couple that children have done from this book, Kids Poems. Here's one about skating. Skating. She loves it. I carve, I jump, I twirl. I can do anything. I am leaping through the sky. A camel, a sit spin, a toe loop, a half flip. I do a split. I have the whole world at my feet. So this is the one that she actually wrote. I think she was a grade 2 girl. And here's the one that is published with a typewriter. I have the whole world at my feet is her ending. Because of course her skates are on her feet and that's what she's doing for all of those fun things. Then there was one here about brothers. Here's one that's kind of out of the sad quadrant. My brothers. Sam is fun, Will is not. Sam is weak, Will is strong. But both will beat me up. Brothers, brothers, brothers. And there it is, published with his illustration. Both will beat me up. Oh my goodness. So that's his kind of sad ending. And then he's exasperated. Brothers, brothers, brothers is how he finishes. So take one of your topics, see what you can do with it. And if you write a poem, send it to me. I would love to hear it. So let's get going. We're going to write poetry this week.